back home cut her hair. Sight life gets blurry and things might hurt me. It's probably gonna be a long journey, but world out there, kids, grab your coat. Spend a minute, I know, looking for the antidote to crack the code. Pretty given to me, but I can't condone. Talking down to me, I'm a taking notes, cracking jokes. You feel me? The hope you say. Making a whole lot of changes. Wrote a song about that, you should play it. I get scared when I walk on these stages. I look at the crowd and see so many faces. Yeah, that's when I start to get anxious. That's when my thoughts can be dangerous. That's when I put on my makeup and drown in self-hatred. Forget what I'm saying. And where the beat go? Y'all done it. Sight life gets blurry and things might hurt me. It's probably gonna be a long journey, but out there, kids, grab your coat. Spend a minute, I know, looking for the antidote to crack the code. Pretty given to me, but I can't condone. Talking down to me, I'm a cracking notes and cracking jokes. You feel me? The hope you say. Making a whole lot of changes. Wrote a song about that, you should play it. I get scared when I walk on these stages. I look at the crowd and see so many faces. Yeah, that's when I start to get anxious. That's when my thoughts can be dangerous. That's when I put on my makeup and drown in self-hatred. Forget what I'm saying. And where the beat goes? Sight life gets blurry and things might hurt me. It's probably gonna be a long journey, but world out there, kids, grab your coat. Spend a minute, I know, looking for the antidote to crack the code. Pretty given to me, but I can't condone. Talking down to me, I'm a cracking notes and cracking jokes. You feel me? The hope you say. Making a whole lot of changes. Wrote a song about that, you should play it. I get scared when I walk on these stages. I look at the crowd and see so many faces. Yeah, that's when I start to get anxious. That's when my thoughts can be dangerous. That's when I put on my makeup and drown in self-hatred. Forget what I'm saying. And where the beat goes? Sight life gets blurred. Oh, my grandson's been wanting some weights.
Sheldon? Hell, can't he just lift a soup can or something?
The other grandson, the pretty one with the hair.
Oh, all right, well, send it by. We'll give him the family and friends discount.
How big a discount?
Well, it depends on how much fun we have tonight.
Are you putting a price on my affections?
Yeah.
You're gonna regret it. I'm really fun.
I'm Georgie, Tony Tucker's grandson.
Oh, yeah. The hair. Very pretty. Hang on a second. I gotta deal with this guy, okay?
Take your time.
They'll give you a good price on those weights.
Better. He gave me a job.
Damn, he did have fun last night. What kind of job?
Salesman.
Well, congratulations.
I'm gonna learn a lot from him. He's real good at getting people to spend money on stuff they don't need.
Well, I don't know if I like the sound of that.
You know what I like the sound of? Ka-ching.
Oh, my grandson's been wanting some weights.
Sheldon?
Why do people say split arrow is the most useless skill? If you pick split arrow,
You want Grandpa Rhea to get better, don't you? Thank you. Zoro, what's wrong?
Someone's here. Up there.
Thank you for deciphering the intricacies of that map. Well done. Now I can find the Dragonite and their nest as well.
It's the sickle!
But there's no point if it's at the bottom of the ocean. It looks like my only option now is to take your millennial dragons.
We don't even know if they know flying things, so stay away from him, you jerk!
You better let us handle him. He's got sickle fruit powers. This is one nasty guy we've got here.
Sickle? Him? He's got devil fruit powers, too? Hey!
Luffy, you guys go on ahead and get Grandpa Ryu to the ship.
Dang
I'll
it.
catch up with you later.
Gotcha! Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute, get to the ship? How? I don't see an exit here, do you? Then I guess I'll make one! Luffy, wait! You want Grandpa Ryu to get better, don't you? Thank you. Zoro, what's wrong?
Someone's here.
What's your Tinder
That's
horror
stupid.
story? After a few weeks of texting a girl completely out of my league, I asked her out. I was shocked when she actually accepted. She walked in and looked so beautiful I literally went pale. She greeted me with a smile and a hug, and I kept blushing like an idiot. I really enjoyed the date, but had low hopes because I thought she wouldn't be attracted to me. However, when I walked her to the door at the end of our date, she gave me the best kiss I have ever gotten. My heart stopped. I was in heaven. Fast forward a month or two, we hung out a lot and I was falling for her like nobody before. Out of nowhere, she told me the "we need to talk" line, and nothing could have prepared me for what she was about to say. She looked at me and told me she has stage 4 cancer. She then, while trying not to cry, said she'd understand if I left. I was speechless. After a minute, I ran my hands through her hair and told her I loved her. I thought she was amazing and I'd be honored to take this journey with her. We held each other for the rest of the night. Over the next year, I lived a lifetime. We traveled and completed her bucket list while crying a lot. 9 months ago, she passed in my arms while I sang her favorite song. What's your Tinder horror story? After a few weeks of texting a girl completely out of my league, I asked her out. I was shocked when she actually accepted. She walked in and looked so beautiful I literally went pale. She greeted me with a smile and a hug, and I kept blushing like an idiot. I really enjoyed the date, but had low hopes because I thought she wouldn't be attracted to me. However, when I walked her to the door at the end of our date, she gave me the best kiss I have ever gotten. My heart stopped. I was in heaven. Fast forward a month or two, we hung out a lot and I was falling for her like nobody before. Out of nowhere, she told me the "we need to talk" line, and nothing could have prepared me for what she was about to say. She looked at me and told me she has stage 4 cancer. She then, while trying not to cry, said she'd understand if I left. I was speechless. After a minute, I ran my hands through her hair and told her I loved her. I thought she was amazing and I'd be honored to take this journey with her. We held each other for the rest of the night. Over the next
When did you realize that the saying, "if they love you, they'll make time for you," is true? 2 years ago, my long-distance boyfriend and I had an extremely painful breakup. And on our goodbye call, I told him to forget about me and find someone he'll love as much as he did me. Well, that same weekend, he spontaneously drove 6 hours to my hometown. He showed up at my door, and when I opened it, he told me, "A few days ago, some cute girl told me to find someone I love, so here I am." To top it off, he was wearing the same outfit he wore on our first date when we were 16. I got in his car, and he was playing the same song that was playing when I got in it the first time. I was trying so hard not to cry, until I realized we were going to the same restaurant he took me on our first date. He had pre-ordered our meals, the exact same ones. The dinner was amazing, and after it, he had another surprise. He drove us to a nature reserve close by, and at this point, it was dark with the stars out. He told me to step outside and close my eyes, and when I opened them, my favorite song was playing. He had also transformed the back of his car into a love nest covered in rose petals. In the middle was an envelope, and inside was a vinyl record of the album to which we made love for the first time. I was so overcome with emotion, and we just slow danced making out in the woods. It's very sad that he's not my boyfriend anymore, but at least he's my fiance. When did you realize that the saying, "if they love you, they'll make time"?
Yo, this guy's always locked in when I see him in the gym. I gotta ask him what his split is. Yo.
Can you please help my sister? She's bleeding it. I don't know what to do.
What's wrong? You're bleeding too.
You know, I'll get the med kit.
I'm fine. Help her first. I started bleeding this morning and it won't stop. I tried putting band-aids on it, but it still won't stop. You can help her, right? I tried that one, and we didn't know what to do, so we came here. I was running a little too fast and fell.
Yeah, the hospital is just a few blocks away.
No hospital. My mom went to the hospital and never came out. No hospital.
Okay. What are your names?
I don't know. And this is my sister, Jenny.
Jenny, are you having any pain?
They just started bleeding and now my stomach hurts.
Okay. Jenny, how old are you?
12 and a half.
Jenny, can you remove your jacket for me?
Am I dying?
No, Jenny, you're not dying. You are menstruating. Do you know what that means?
It's like you heard other girls talk about getting their period.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Jack, why don't you take that on in there and help him with the scripts?
I'm not leaving her.
Buddy, it's gonna be okay. We're just gonna go out there so they get your sister checked out and cleaned up. Good thing.
It's okay, Adam. I'm gonna be okay. You don't know that.
But I do. I'm a doctor, and this, what's happening with your sister, it's my specific field. And I'm one of the best there is.
Oh, that's true.
Can you give me 20 minutes, and then you can come back here and be with her?
20 minutes. Can you please help my sister? She's bleeding it. I don't know what to do.
What's wrong? You're bleeding too.
You know, I'll get the med kit.
I'm fine. Help her first. I started bleeding this morning and it won't stop. I tried putting band-aids on it, but it still won't stop. You can help her, right? I tried that one, and we didn't know what to do, so we came here. I was running a little too fast to stop.
What evil prank have you pulled off? 1. Two of my friends have never met each other. Before they spoke, I told both of them that the other is a bit deaf. They shouted at each other for a few minutes before they realized that I'm an a-hole. 2. My mom's laptop wallpaper was a picture of her granddaughter. I copied the picture 100 times and made her wallpaper a slideshow of the same picture over and over again. So the file would change, but nothing would change visibly on the monitor. The pictures would change every 10 seconds. In one of the images, I painted a tiny little curly mustache on her. So randomly, for 10 seconds, my niece would have a mustache. My mom thought she was either losing her mind or had a computer virus, and every time the mustache popped up, it was gone by the time she tried to show anyone. 3. One summer in college, I worked in the registrar's office, registering all the incoming freshmen. A prof who was a mentor to me was teaching a freshman seminar and asked me to handpick a class for her. Straight A students, high SATs, whatever. So I did. 15 students, all named Sarah. 4. I farted under the covers, then pointed at the ceiling above my girlfriend and shouted, "Spider!" so she'd throw the blankets over her head. Later, when she told her parents, that turned out to be the thing that earned her dad's respect for me. Made him laugh so hard he needed an inhaler. What evil prank have you pulled off? 1. What was the easiest way you ever made money? Last month, I was riding my bike to pick up a package when I noticed 2 women arguing in the middle of the street, yelling, pulling hair, the whole scene. And honestly, I couldn't help myself. I pulled over, parked my bike, and leaned against a lamppost to watch. Out of nowhere, I felt a bump from behind. I turned around, and there was a guy in a shiny black BMW who had tapped my bike with his bumper. We just stared at each other for a second before he said, "You stopped to watch too, huh?" I laughed and said, "Guess we've both got good seats now." Instead of arguing, we turned back to the chaos. He squinted at the woman in the red dress and said, "I'm betting on her. She looks feisty." I shook my head. "Nah, the one in jeans has that unhinged look. She's got this." He nodded and said, "All right, pack of smokes says I'm right." I pulled a half-empty pack of cheap cigarettes from my pocket, and we shook on it. A few minutes later, he went to his car and came back with 2 beers. We cracked them open and kept watching. The woman in jeans threw a wild punch, and the red dress lady hit the pavement. The guy groaned. "Man, I thought she had it." Right then, a traffic cop rolled up and noticed his bumper still touching my bike. "What happened here?" the cop asked. The guy shrugged. "Just a little tap. We're handling it." Before we left, he handed me $200 and said, "For the bike, man." The thing is, my bike wasn't even that messed up. It cost me $20 to fix. A few days later, I got a text from him. "There's another fight downtown. Bring smokes." So yeah, now I've got a random fight watching button. What was the easiest way you ever made money? Last month, I was riding my bike to pick up a...
What if current Straw Hat members fought Whitebeard pirates? Let's figure out the winner. Firstly, we have captains means Whitebeard versus Luffy. After this battle, Whitebeard would be the first and only person who battle on equal terms with 2-generation Pirate King. The result of every battle will be explained at end of video. Next, we have First Division Commander Marco. Marco is really tough opponent for someone. He is the person who was able to hold both King and Queen alone while healing every person in Wano. That is when we was not even dedicated to fight. His abilities is totally underrated. The best person for him would be Zoro. Second strongest Straw Hat. Sorry, Sanji fans. Next we have Ace. The best candidate for Ace would be Jinbei. I know some of you were expecting Sanji, but Jinbei's water ability could prove really useful against Ace's fire ability. On to next, we have Diamond Jozu, the guy who was able to withstand Mihawk's slash. There's no remaining member who can handle him besides Sanji. Now the result of every battle. On first one, Luffy will win. Reason is old Whitebeard is not strong enough to defeat Gear 5th Luffy. And on next, I think Marco would win. Zoro is strong, but not as much as Marco is. On next, Jinbei and Sanji will win, so that'll win for Straw Hat. What if current Straw Hat members fought Whitebeard pirates? Let's figure out the winner. Firstly, we have captains means Whitebeard versus Luffy. After this battle, Whitebeard would be the first and only...
There's a driver from a small town in California who walked away with...
Parents, what moment made you realize you raised your child right? My 6-year-old son, Tommy, has always loved Lego sets. For almost a whole year, he saved up his allowance. Every Sunday night, he would carefully count his money, hoping he could finally buy a $47 Lego space station. He kept the money safe in his favorite dinosaur wallet. 2 days before Christmas, we went to a toy store. Tommy held his wallet tightly, eyes sparkling as we neared the Lego aisle. That's when we overheard them, a mother and son standing in front of the action figure section. The little boy, probably around Tommy's age, was looking up at his mom with hopeful eyes. His mom knelt down and quietly told him they couldn't afford any toys this Christmas. Tommy stopped and thought for a moment. Without saying anything, he opened his wallet and counted all $47. Before I could say anything, he walked over to the mom, gently tugged her sleeve, and said, "Excuse me, Santa asked me to give this to you. He's very busy and needs helpers sometimes." Then he quickly ran back to me. The mom called after him with tears in her eyes, but Tommy just grabbed my hand and we left the store. That night, as I tucked him in, he whispered, "Mom, can you keep a secret? I'm one of Santa's undercover elves." His little face was glowing with pure joy. On Christmas morning, when his little sister asked why he didn't get the Lego set, Tommy just smiled and said, "Santa needed my help with something more important." Parents, what moment made you realize you raised your child right? My 6-year-old son, Tommy, has always loved Lego sets. For almost a whole year, he saved up his allowance. Every Sunday night,
You said if you had a son, you would not let him play football. What makes you think that he would want to play football? What if he was a nerd like you?
Do you think a woman like Michelle would marry a nerd? Why don't you ask her whether she thinks I'm a nerd?
Did I?
No, I'm not going to let her near you.
What is it like to be the last black president?
What's it like for this to be the last time you ever talked to a president?
It must kind of stink, though, that you can't run 3 times.
If I ran a third time, it'd be sort of like doing a third hangover. Didn't really work out very well. I'm going to press this.
Don't touch that, please.
You've been shooting these shows here in the diplomatic room? Who gave you permission to do that?
Bush, you said if you had a son, you would not let him play football. What makes you think that he would want to play football? What if he was a nerd like you?
Do you think a woman like Michelle would marry a nerd? Why don't you ask her whether she thinks I'm a nerd?
Could I?
No, I'm not going to let her near you.
What is it like to be the last black president?
What's it like for this to be the last?
Frankie.
Tyreek Hill's wife got glizzy while he was on the field. His wife and his mom had seats to see him play. And when Tyreek scored a touchdown, she celebrated by throwing her hands up. But she didn't see the guy with the hot dog behind her. She was pissed. And what's funny is Tyreek had the guy's back.
Definitely her fault. She got back to the car and her my mom. It was like, yeah, like, it was his fault the whole time I watched the thing. I'm like, you hit it on his hand though. Like, he had me hot at this dude. Now I see the video. It's like, you feel me?
Tyreek Hill's wife got glizzy while he was on the field. His wife and his mom had seats to see him.
The no talking rule that backfired spectacularly. Sophomore year, our school administration decided the cafeteria had gotten too loud. Their solution? A brand new rule that banned talking during lunch. The logic, apparently, was that silence would somehow make the lunchroom more productive and orderly. Everyone thought it was the most absurd thing ever. I mean, lunch is literally the one break we have all day, and now they wanted us to eat in silence like we were in some weird food meditation class. On day one of the silent lunch rule thing.
I'm Matt Alanis, and my business is powered by Shopify. Ready to take your business to the...
What's a lie that ruined your life forever? 2 years ago, my ex-girlfriend and I got into a massive argument after I found out she cheated on me. She was furious, pacing around the apartment, throwing things and yelling about how I never listened to her. She grabbed my car keys and yelled that she was leaving. She said she was driving to her parents' house, but I stood in her way. I told her calmly, look, I'll leave if you need space, but you're not taking my car. You're not on the insurance, it's pouring rain, and you're not in the right state of mind to drive. Her eyes narrowed, and she stormed toward the door anyway. I followed her, trying to reason with her. You can't just take my car without my permission. If you do, I'll have to call the cops. This isn't safe. She froze on the doorstep, and for a second, I thought she'd back down. Instead, she turned around, came back inside, and did something I'll never forget. She pulled up her sleeve, revealing a massive green bruise on her arm. My stomach dropped as I asked, what happened? Did you fall? Are you okay? She stared me down and said, I did this to myself the other day when I got angry, but if you call the cops, I'll tell them you did it. I was stunned. I knew how quickly things could spiral if she followed through. I asked her again, trying to stay calm. You're saying you'd lie to the police? You'd tell them I hit you? She nodded without hesitation and said, yeah, so think twice before you call. Eventually we broke up, but that wasn't the end of the nightmare. She trashed my apartment before leaving. She smashed the computer I built from scratch, stole over $200 worth of my belongings, and took both of our cats. Those cats were my world. I was the one who fed them, trained them, and cared for them. She knew taking them would hurt the most, and she didn't care. When I called the cops to document the damage, the officer pulled me aside and said, do you have somewhere else you can go tonight? It'd be easier if you weren't here. I explained that I had an eye infection and couldn't drive, but his response chilled me. Look, if we get called back here for any reason, chances are you're the one going to jail. That's just how these things go. I left my own apartment that night, feeling humiliated and powerless. When I returned, the place was wrecked. Every lawyer I consulted told me it wasn't worth pursuing in court. I'd likely lose more money and still wouldn't get my cats back. What's a lie that ruined your life for...
There's really just 3 types of smart people. The first dude, you wouldn't even be able to tell bro's smart because he's just lazy as fuck. He be acing every test using 1% of his brain power. Like he's got that Elon Musk potential, but shit, he just doesn't really feel like being a billionaire today. Or on the other hand, we got the weirdly political and argumentative smart dude. This guy used up all his IQ points on logic and reasoning and completely forgot to upgrade his social awareness. Because this is the kind of guy that everyone mutually agrees is just annoying as fuck. Like you can't do shit around this dude without him trying to start an argument.
You've got 7 grandkids now. Do they call you Snoop, Grandpa?
Call me Papa Snoop.
Happy birthday, Snoop.
He used to call me Papa Noop. He couldn't say Snoop. And then as time went by, he learned how to say Snoop.
What kind of gramps are you?
You can get away with anything with me. Whatever your parents won't let you do, come over here. You can't eat candy? Can't watch TV like that? I'm the can man.
I heard you like to dress up when you were with the kids.
Yes, always. That's me inside of there. That's me inside of there. And that's me inside of there. And as soon as the kids see me, oh my God, it's Buzz, Lightwork, or whoever I'm dressed up.
You've got 7 grandkids now. Do they call you Snoop,
They
Grandpa?
call me Papa Snoop.
Happy birthday, my Snoop.
He used to call me Papa Noop. He couldn't say Snoop. And then as time went by, he learned how to say Snoop.
What kind of gramps are you?
You can get away with anything with me. Whatever your parents won't let you do, come over here. You can't eat candy, you can't watch TV late night. The can man. I heard you like to dress up when you were with the kids. Yes, always. That's me inside of there.
All I'm saying is that it's easy. Like, anybody could do it, bro. It's not that hard. Yo, dog, did you see this letter on your... Hold up, my bro just got here. I'll call you later, all right? Bro, I was trying to say that I found this letter on your... Bro, I was just on the phone with John, and I was telling him, bro, this is, like, really important. Oh, my gosh, bro, let me speak. Hi, bro. Say what you got to say. Thank you. Gosh. What I was trying to say was that I was talking to John, and I was just telling him, bro, the Army, it's not that hard. Your opinion is invalid. Nah, bro. I'm not saying it's, like, completely easy. I'm just saying, like... It'll be easy for me. Yeah, you couldn't be more wrong, my boy. Because you really got to think about it, bro. Like, you see the enemy. Like, it's not that hard. People are just making it out to be more complicated than it is. Like, that's just my opinion. All right, dog. Whatever you say. I know. What were you saying about some letter on my door? Like, what does it say? You're getting drafted into the Army. Sure, it's meant for me. Senior Spice Franklin Cornelius II. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's for you, dog. You know, I got yoga class at 6, and my instructor is like, I'm really loyal, so, you know, I would any other time, but I just... Yo, dog, they not asking you to go to the Army. They telling you. You know, it's fine, it's cool, doesn't matter. Probably not even going to be in danger for real. It's probably just going to put me in, like, the medical field or something. They said they're putting you on the front lines. Well, I mean, like the Army, they don't always go to dangerous places. You know, they could probably be sending me to like some peaceful country. They said they're sending you to Palestine. I'm cooked. All I'm saying is that it's...
Are you tired of sleeping alone? You can meet many beautiful women who live in your area. The app has a high response rate. All the profiles are verified. So no scammers.
How did you trick your entire high school? On my last day of high school, I pretended I was a substitute teacher and taught a class. For whatever reason, I decided that on my last day of high school, I was going to go out in style. So I wore a suit and tie to school. When I arrived, I got a few glances and grins. And then one of my friends asked if I was dressed as one of our teachers, one who was known for overdressing often. As he asked me this, it sparked an idea. If he thought I was trying to impersonate a teacher, I wonder if lower classmen would think the same. I wondered if I could pretend to be one. The wheels started turning. I looked the part, and I had enough confidence to pull it off. And if I walked into a class that was all freshmen, there was a high probability that I wouldn't be recognized as a senior, because our social circles didn't overlap much. So as the morning bell rang, I was decided. The only thing that was missing was a class with no teacher. As I was walking to my first class, I peered in every class, looking for one with students, but to which the teacher was running late. I wouldn't be able to teach the whole period, obviously, but I could run out the game as long as the teacher was late. But time was of the essence. If I couldn't find a classroom quickly, I wouldn't get any teaching time, as the teacher would walk in right after me. And if I made it to my first class before I found a teacherless classroom, I'd have to go in and sit down, thus missing my opportunity. 2 rooms before my class, I found it. A class with 25 students seated quietly and no teacher in sight. I looked up and down the halls and saw no sign of an educator coming, so I burst through the door and started talking. If everyone would please take their seats, I'd like to go ahead and take roll. There was silence. I glanced around and saw the teacher's nameplate on her desk. Mrs. T isn't feeling well today, so I'll be subbing for her. I understand you guys were told what you have to work on, but before we begin, I'd like to take roll, so if someone could please show me where the class roster is. Out of nowhere, a student says, "Aren't you a student here?" Someone recognized me, but it didn't matter. If I played it confidently enough, he would get the idea, stop talking, and the rest of the class would be satisfied with my explanation. So I stopped, took a moment to act offended and frustrated, and continued. "Yeah, I get that a lot. I know I look young, but no, I am not a student, and I would appreciate it if you raise your hand to speak." They were satisfied, and shot the student angry glances for asking such a seemingly offensive question. I continued. "I understand you all have some projects you're finishing or that need to be turned in today, so I'll go ahead and let you work on those presently. If one of you could please let me know the name of the project so I can track, for Mrs. T, what you were working on, I would appreciate it." One of the overly eager students perked up and explained the project details to me. This is about 5-10 minutes in now, so I'm starting to wonder where the teacher is, and if I'm going to actually fill up a 90-minute period. Just then, I see her, through a window, coming down the hall. I turn to the class. "Students, if I can have your attention." They put their pencils down. "I actually am a student. Today is my last day of high school, and you've been great. Thanks for letting me sub in." And I held the door for the teacher as she walked in. "How did you trick your entire high school?"
"1 ticket to see Moana." All right, thank you. Thank you. How much are your M&Ms? $5.75. 4? Okay, I'll be right back. I think I got a better idea. Can I get a 1/4 pound Big Bite, please? All right, thank you.